You want to know why this is happening? One word: Democrats. I'm going to tell you all about it and more today on The Ben Shapiro Show.
So Ben Shapiro just exposed how Democrats are literally shutting down airport security while protecting illegal immigrants and Iran sympathizers. This isn't just political theater. Americans are stuck in 4-hour TSA lines because Democrats prioritize open borders over basic safety. Let's break this down.
The standoff over the funding of the Department of Homeland Security, including TSA, continues. People are waiting hours because of it. According to NPR, the Transportation Security Administration is experiencing the longest wait times ever in its 24-year history because of the ongoing partial shutdown, according to agency Deputy Administrator Ha Nguyen McNeil.
4-hour wait times at major airports. That's historically unprecedented. TSA has never faced this level of dysfunction in its 24-year existence. Meanwhile, Democrats are blocking basic Homeland Security funding over their ideological crusade to abolish immigration enforcement entirely.
This person told the House Homeland Security Committee on Wednesday that wait times at some major airports have exceeded 4 hours, and that employees at those airports are calling out of work at rates of 40 to 50%, according to McNeil. And TSA may even have to close smaller airports due to understaffing. And she worries the agency will continue to lose officers to more steady jobs and fail to attract new talent, which, of course, is not a giant shock. Now,
when half your workforce is calling out sick and you're threatening to close entire airports, that's not a labor dispute. That's government collapse. Democrats are literally making air travel impossible to score political points with their radical base.
It's insanity, and it's happening because Democrats have decided that posturing over ICE is more important than basic safety standards and citizen protections all over the United States. The Senate Majority Leader John Thune is not wrong when he says that Democrats seem to believe that the current shutdown is good for their left-wing base.
This is classic Democrat strategy. Create a crisis through obstruction, then blame Republicans for the consequences. Thune nailed it. They actually think airport chaos helps them politically because their base hates functional government more than they love public safety.
Now, for some reason, Democrats seem to think they can just insult their way to political victory here. This is very simple. The Democrats are shutting down the Department of Homeland Security. Everyone knows this. All they have to do is pass a clean funding bill for DHS.
The solution is literally one vote. Pass clean DHS funding. No riders, no conditions, just fund airport security. But Democrats would rather watch Americans suffer in endless security lines than allow immigration enforcement to function properly.
But somehow Jimmy Kimmel is out there just randomly insulting the new DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen for the great crime of being a plumber, which is a weird take from Jimmy Kimmel, who was like a shock jock radio sports guy. Why is he commenting on this in this way? Also, I was informed that it's good that AOC was a bartender, so I guess it's bad that a man who was a senator is now running DHS because at one time he was a plumber.
The hypocrisy is staggering. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was a bartender, Democrats celebrated her working-class roots. Now they mock a plumber-turned-senator running DHS. Apparently, blue-collar backgrounds only matter if you vote Democrat.
Brandon Johnson, the ridiculous mayor of Chicago, actually debuted his own snowplow truck festooned with a banner that says on it, "Abolish ICE." Get it? Because he's abolishing like the actual material that is ICE, but he also wants to abolish ICE. Things are going amazing in the city of Chicago.
Chicago has 700 murders annually, crumbling infrastructure, and mass exodus of residents. But Brandon Johnson thinks naming a snowplow "Abolish ICE" is peak governance. This perfectly captures Democrat priorities: performative activism over actual public safety.
Democrats seem to believe that illegal immigrants roaming free is more important than you being able to get to your plane on time. That is what is happening right now, which is crazy because, first of all, they shouldn't be roaming free. They committed a crime in entering the country.
Think about this backwards logic. Democrats are protecting people who broke federal law to enter illegally while punishing law-abiding Americans with airport security theater. They're literally prioritizing criminals over citizens who just want to catch their flights.
The Loyola University of Chicago student newspaper, that's the campus newspaper of the murdered student Sheridan Gorman, issued a formal apology for calling her murderer an illegal immigrant. I'm not even kidding. So she was murdered, and the student newspaper put out this statement, quote, "In the body of the original post, we described the man who was charged as an illegal immigrant using language provided by the Department of Homeland Security. That language does not align with Associated Press style, nor does it align with the values of this newspaper. No human's existence is illegal, and we quickly changed our wording to reflect that. We acknowledge the harm such language can cause and the power and importance of the words we choose to use." I'm sorry, this is crazy. It's all ridiculous.
A student was murdered, and the campus newspaper apologizes for calling her killer an illegal immigrant, which is the accurate legal term. They're more concerned with protecting the feelings of criminals than honoring a dead student. This is institutional insanity.
The term is illegal immigrant. You immigrated illegally. That is literally what that term means. But apparently at the student newspaper, they are more concerned about the terminology to address illegal immigration than they are about the fact that an illegal immigrant allegedly murdered one of their students.
The term illegal immigrant describes someone who immigrated illegally. That's basic English. But woke institutions have decided that accurate legal terminology is somehow more offensive than actual murder. Their priorities are completely inverted.
Well, now the Philadelphia DA, Larry Krasner, he is threatening to prosecute ICE agents. This is how crazy Democrats are. So Democrats, apparently, many Democrats believe that ICE agents ought to be prosecuted, but illegal immigrants ought not. And you should wait in the line at the airport because of this.
Philadelphia's DA threatens to prosecute federal immigration agents while protecting illegal immigrants who commit crimes. This is the complete inversion of law enforcement. Arrest the cops, protect the criminals. And Americans pay with airport delays.
This is of protesters in Philadelphia. These would be pro-Iran, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist protesters openly in Philadelphia celebrating the killing of American troops. Openly celebrating it. I'm pretty sure we have an immigration problem, folks. I'm pretty sure our standards are too lax. When folks like this are in our country, they should not be.
Those Philadelphia protesters celebrating dead American troops aren't just anti-Israel. They're actively supporting Iran's proxy war against us. These are the people Democrats protect while making law-abiding Americans wait 4 hours at security.
Immigrated here and then holds those principles, that person can be deported under current law and should be deported under current law, and so should the people cheering for it. You are not allowed to come to this country and support terrorist groups. You are not allowed to do that. That is a violation of immigration law. That is falsification of your immigration papers.
Federal immigration law explicitly prohibits supporting terrorist organizations. Anyone who falsified their immigration papers by hiding terrorist sympathies can be legally deported. The law exists. Democrats just refuse to enforce it.
The answer is a lot of the people in the Democratic Party are totally fine with anti-Americanism. They like the anti-Americanism. Ilhan Omar, another immigrant we never should have admitted to the United States, given her wild hatred for America and our allies.
Ilhan Omar repeatedly attacks America and our allies from Congress. She's the perfect example of failed immigration screening, someone who clearly harbors anti-American sentiment but was allowed to gain political power anyway. Democrats celebrate this.
Now, the reality is, in the current conflict with Iran, we are kicking the living hell out of the Iranian government, which is a good thing. It is a thing worth celebrating.
The military strikes against Iranian proxies have been devastatingly effective. Iran's entire regional network is collapsing. Yet Democrats oppose even these defensive measures, while Iran literally kills American soldiers. Their priorities couldn't be clearer.
So far, they have been utterly and completely useless. No shock there. The European Union Vice President Kaja Kallas, she says that the Iran war has to stop now. Well, ladies, since you and your buddies aren't helping out at all, I think that we don't really need your say in this. I think that your input is zero. Zero.
European officials demanding we stop defending ourselves while contributing absolutely nothing to the fight is peak EU arrogance. They freeload off American military power for decades, then lecture us about restraint when we're actually attacked.
And then them re-injecting themselves to explain that we need to be part of a negotiation. The Europeans can kiss our ass. They are so useless. They are beyond useless.
The Europeans want influence without contribution, opinion without obligation. They've spent decades underfunding their militaries while America provides their security. Now they demand veto power over our self-defense. That's not how alliances work.
So The Economist, which has basically become the Jim Cramer of international politics, Jim Cramer, of course, the financial analyst on CNBC, who makes stock picks and is always wrong, like wrong so often that reverse Cramer is an actual trade that you can buy, and it outperforms the market by a fairly significant margin. Well, The Economist, they put out a piece on the cover of their magazine called Advantage Iran, which, I'm sorry to break it to you, if you think that Iran has an advantage right now, you're out of your mind.
Calling Iran's position an advantage when their proxies are being systematically destroyed is pure media delusion. The Economist has become completely detached from reality, like claiming a boxer has the advantage while he's getting knocked out.
As we've been discussing for days, the Iranian economy does not exist. It does not exist. The Iranian government was trying to hold the rial to an exchange rate against the dollar of 42,000. They tried it for years, and then they had to give up the ghost in January, and it immediately skyrocketed from 42,000 rials per US dollar to 988,000 rials per US dollar. Right now, there is no price for rials. They do not exist. And that is because of the damage that we have dealt them.
Iran's currency collapsed from 42,000 to 988,000 rials per dollar. That's a 95% devaluation. Their economy has essentially ceased to exist. This level of economic warfare success is unprecedented, yet media calls it Iran's advantage.
The West incapable of withstanding even the most minute and temporary sacrifice on behalf of a long-term victory.
Western media actively undermines our own victories by promoting defeatism and surrender. The Economist and similar outlets condition Americans to expect failure and fear success. They're psychological warfare agents for our enemies.